And it's so often we see these situations where people are like, oh, well, this player fell in the draft. Why is this guy still falling? There's a reason why. NFL teams have more information than fans, than these media scouts like Mel Kiper, who, by the way, is tapped in. Yes, I'm not trying to say he's not tapped in, but not to the extent that these NFL front offices and these NFL scouting departments are. The way Shedeur Sanders acted in that interview where he was not speaking to the media, he was speaking to the media, but he was not speaking to the media, completely and utterly immature. Shedeur Sanders is a child, and NFL teams were right when they decided we want nothing to do with this guy. The Browns were pressured into drafting this guy. This was an owner decision because the front office guys all saw this guy is not worth the problems. Shedeur Sanders was a good college quarterback. He was not a guy that was worth drafting in the first round. He did not look like a guy who would be one of the best starting quarterbacks in the league. Maybe his ceiling is back end of the top 10 at best, but he was never a guy that was going to be an elite quarterback in this league. And I just think that teams looked at Shedeur Sanders and they said, he is more problem, he is more trouble than what he is worth. And you're starting to see that play out in real time with the Cleveland Browns, not even 7 months after the NFL draft, and you're already starting to see problems with this guy. There is a reason why he is not going to make it as an NFL quarterback, because he can't get out of his own ways. I mean, you're talking about speeding tickets, the celebration after the touchdown that was completely unnecessary. What's going on right now with him not being able to accept the fact that he's not good enough to be a starting quarterback in the league. That's what this comes down to. It's no discrimination towards Shedeur Sanders. He's not good enough. That's the ultimate thing here. The Browns saw what this young man can provide to their football team, and they said, that's not good enough. We don't want him to be our starting quarterback. And that's the biggest thing about this all. The NFL was right about Shedeur Sanders. He's more trouble than talent. His talent does not outweigh the trouble and the attention that he's going to give to your organization. And you're seeing that play out in full time right now. I mean, you talk about, oh, I don't want to go to Baltimore because I don't want to be a backup quarterback. Well, you would have a chance to be a starting quarterback right now and show other teams that, hey, I'm a starting quarterback in this league. You should trade for me so I can be your starting quarterback. I'm going to play behind Lamar Jackson. And not only am I going to play behind Lamar Jackson, I'm going to learn behind Lamar Jackson. Lamar would have been a fantastic mentor to Shedeur Sanders. But Shedeur Sanders is just like, oh, no, I don't want to go to the Ravens. I don't want to go to one of the most well put together franchises in the NFL. I don't want to go to an organization that has one of the best quarterbacks in football and play behind him and learn from him. I don't want to do that. I want to go to the Cleveland Browns where I'm going to still be a backup quarterback and still not be the guy. That's what he did. He said, oh yeah, no, Ravens, I don't want you guys. This is an absolute mess that the Browns have. And I think they just need to peel the Band-Aid off and just move on from the guy. What? Okay. Do the Browns actually think that this guy could potentially be a starter in the NFL? Do they think that? Because if they think that, then I can understand that. But at the end of the day, I don't think they see that in the guy, which is why they're saying, hey, we want to start Dylan Gabriel. I don't think the coaches want Sheduer on this team. I don't think people in the front office want Sheduer on this team. I think the only person that wants Sheduer on the Cleveland Browns is the owner. Because with Shedeur Sanders being on that roster, that brings some sort of media relevancy to the Cleveland Browns. Not actual relevancy, media relevancy. Because yes, people will talk about the Browns because of Shedeur Sanders. That team's name will be in the news. Cleveland Browns quarterback Shedeur Sanders. Cleveland Browns. They want to be talked about. They want some attention on them. They want some juice in their organization because nobody's going to talk about them if they didn't have Shedeur Sanders. So that's why the owner brought him in. They were a 5th round pick. Hey, he could be something. And if he is something, then we're going to have all this attention. NFL was right. The NFL was right. And it's so often we see these situations where people are like, oh, well, this player fell in the draft. Why is this guy still falling? There's a reason why. NFL teams have more information than fans, than these media scouts like Mel Kiper, who, by the way, is tapped in. Yes, I'm not trying to say he's not tapped in, but not to the extent that these NFL front offices and these NFL scouting departments are. I mean, these scouting departments these NFL teams put millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of dollars into their scouting department. You want to know why? Because the draft is the lifeblood of NFL franchises. That's why teams put so much money into their scouting departments. So with these scouting departments that get all this money put into them, they said Shedeur Sanders, not worth it. We don't want to deal with the guy. Rightfully so. I wouldn't want to deal with him either if I'm an NFL franchise, because that guy is a problem. And you're starting to see it play out in full time right now. It's not anybody else's fault. It's not the Cleveland Browns' fault. It's not the NFL's fault. It's not his teammates' fault. It's his fault. He needs to be held accountable. The reason why Shedeur Sanders wasn't graded above Dillon Gabriel and wasn't drafted above Dillon Gabriel or any of the other quarterbacks in this draft that got drafted ahead of him was because of Shedeur Sanders. His pre-draft process sucked. It sucked. He thought he was better than what he was. He was smug in interviews. I mean, think about that. You're trying to get employed by an organization and you're just like, oh yeah, if you don't want to draft me, that's fine. Another team will draft me. Like, other teams talk, right? Other scouting departments, they talk to each other like, yeah, that interview that we had with Shedeur Sanders was terrible. And you want to know what other NFL teams do? Do you think they're going to believe Shedeur Sanders when it's like, oh yeah, that team, they just didn't like me. I'm just not a fit for them. Or do you think they're going to believe other scouting departments when they talk? These people, they trade information. That's what this is. Scouting is an information-based business, right? People trade information all the time. The NFL was turned off by Shedeur Sanders. Teams were turned off by Shedeur Sanders. And they were right to be turned off by Shedeur Sanders. They did not want to draft him high in this draft. And he is proving, instead of proving all of these teams wrong for having him fall into the 5th round, he's proving every one of these teams right. Every one of these teams that didn't want to draft Shedeur Sanders, they were right to not do it because he is a problem. He is the problem. It's not the media. It's not the fans. It's not the scouts. It's him. And until he realizes that, he's not going to be anything in the NFL. Okay, so moving on, because that was a heavy topic. And here's the thing, right? Like, I do want to spend a little bit of time talking about this when it comes to this. Unfortunately, when it comes to sports and when it comes to scouting or anything of the such, unfortunately, sometimes you do have to talk about somebody's character. In this instance, I don't love doing it because this isn't personal for me. I don't have any ill will towards Shedeur Sanders. I want him to succeed. I want him to be as good as possible. But when things like this come up, you unfortunately have to question somebody's character. Unfortunately, I don't like doing it, but I have to provide the proper information to the people that tune into the show. And, it's kind of like Todd McShay with the scouting, like his scouting show, where unfortunately he has to dive into players and their background and who they are personally, because these organizations invest millions upon millions of dollars into these players. They want to get to know these guys. And I believe that the teams should have their story told, right? Like, they should be able to tell their story through the media as well. Hey, There's some things that we didn't like about the guy. He wasn't a fit for our culture, whatever it may be. We didn't like some of the character things. And unfortunately, when these things play out, you have to be honest and you have to tell the complete and whole truth about this. Shedeur Sanders is not where he wants to be because of Shedeur Sanders and his character flaws.